Good morning and welcome to my show. I'm your host, Danny Graham, and I both invite and encourage you to walk with me on the road to wisdom. Let's walk. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Road to Wisdom. In fact, it's the 266th episode of the Road to Wisdom, and thank you all for joining me. Today, my topic is it's not what you have, it's how you handle what you have. Let me say that one more time. It's not what you have, it's how you handle what you have. And the short net, as you see below, is handling what you have. Now, in life, we all wish for things that sometimes seems outside the scope of what we can obtain at our current status. But with hard work, with prayer, with luck, Shannon Sharp says when luck is when opportunity meets preparation. That's his form of luck. And that is true to a certain extent, but also praying to God and living a righteous life and living a life of substance, a life of morals, a life of hard work and dedication. Also, I definitely believe that God blesses us with certain things that we want and things that we definitely need. But a lot of times we mishandle the things that we have. A lot of times we'll be in a nice house, we'll have a nice car, but we see the Joneses over there, or we see the Browns over there, and they got Cadillacs, they got Ferraris, they got the new Hummer. I want a new Hummer. It starts off about 95,000. I don't think I can stand that smoke. But anyway, we see those things, and sometimes we put ourselves in unnecessary strain because our eyes are bigger than what we see. And while all the while we have a very nice home, very nice cars that are affordable, that we can pay for with comfort, but a lot of times we don't handle what God gives us. A lot of times we have a nice job, a good boss, good working environment, but we strive for much more. We strive to be the boss, or we strive to do things that aren't within the guidelines of the workforce. A lot of times we're at a place that has a very good boss, but because we have our own agendas, some people, they try to make things harder than it has to be instead of handling what's directly in front of them, like the walls of Jericho. All they want to do in Jericho is just make sure that they handle right what was in front of them. As long as they kept that little space of area right in front of their homes and they could hold that, then guess what? The walls of Jericho withstood. When Joshua told them and said, look, all I need you to do is just take care of the area directly in front of your place. As long as you keep that in place, we will survive, which they did. A lot of times, like I said again, we don't handle the blessings that God gives us. So if we can't handle the blessing that God gives us at this level, then we can't expect to get to a higher level because we can't handle what He gave us right then and there. But we have to ask for certain things. There are some skills, 3 skills in particular, that I believe that will help enhance what you have now, the ability to handle it correctly. First thing is focus. You got to focus on what you have. You got to focus on on the ability to maintain, keep, and appreciate what you have, what God has given you, what you have worked for, what you have. Make sure that you take care of it and be proud of it. The second thing is take control of what you have. If you have an opportunity to get something, once you have it, and once God allows you to have that blessing, and your hard work gives you that, take control and make sure that it's not abused. Make sure that people don't use it. And if you loan it out or if you do whatever the case may be, you make sure when you see things are being misused, done in an incorrect way, God gives you the ability to think for yourself and say, if someone is abusing whatever, maybe it be at work, maybe it's a piece of equipment, maybe it's a car, whatever the scenario it is, and you see someone is misusing it or abusing it, you take control and you make sure it's used the correct way, especially if it's your stuff that God gave you, your blessing. And last but not least, be resilient. When God's giving you something, and if He doesn't give you what you want when you ask for it, or if your work doesn't yield the result that you want, be resilient. Don't just give up. A lot of times you got to try 2 or 3 times. A lot of times you got to keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And when you keep trying, that shows God that you really want that. And if you're doing it the right way, the correct way, that shows God that you're working and you're prepared for it. When He gives it to you, you will be able to handle it. A lot of things I see in my profession is sometimes when people want a job and they don't get it the first time, they keep trying 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And my boss, he looks at that. My supervisors, both of them looks at that. And if you're someone that seems eager to work, has that drive, has that fire in your belly, so to speak, then they will give you opportunity. But once you get it, you're going to handle the opportunity that you have. Once you become a law enforcement officer or whatever your profession is, once you are blessed with that, or once you have an opportunity, you got to make sure you can handle what you have. Once you can show your boss, or once you can show God, the ultimate boss, that you can handle whatever blessing He give you, then they're apt to give you more. God is apt to give you more blessings. But the first thing He gives you, you got to be able to handle it. You can't lose your mind. You can't just go out there and be crazy and just run wild with it and don't appreciate it. That's when you don't get other additional blessings. That's when you don't get promotions. That's when you don't get whatever you're trying to get. When you go out there and you lose your mind, the old people say you start smelling yourself and feeling yourself, all that kind of crazy stuff. You don't get the blessings. You don't get the opportunities that may have possibly been there for you. So let's just make sure. One thing I read too is life is 10% of what happens to you. 90% is how you respond to what happens to you, because it's not always going to be sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. Sometimes it's going to be skunks. It's going to be snakes. It's going to be all kind of crazy stuff trying and throw you off the path. Going to try and stop you. Going to try and weaken you. But guess what? 90% of it is how you handle that. How you handle all the negativity. How you handle all the backstabbing. How you handle all talking about this kind of stuff. You just got to make sure that you pray. Keep your prayer game up. Pray for your enemies. Pray for people at work. Pray for your spouse. Pray for your church members. Pray for whatever scenario, whatever case that you may be in. Part of being able to handle what you're in is your prayer life, your prayer game to God. If you're praying to God and you're including God in your prayers and your decisions, your actions, your thoughts, then you're going to be very, very successful, more successful than you are if you had not done the prayer and put in the proper work. If you read the scripture, 1 Peter, the 4th chapter, 10th verse, it reads as follows. As every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Let me say it one more time. 1 Peter, the 4th chapter, the 10th verse reads, every man hath received the gift, received blessings from God, even so minister that same one to another. So if God gives you a blessing, it's your responsibility to try and bless someone else, help someone else. Be able to properly handle what blessing or what opportunity God gives you. If you're given an opportunity at work, at church, whatever the case, it's your obligation, it's your responsibility to try and help someone else the same way you were helped. One more time, as every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. It all goes back to the well, which God is the ultimate well, the ultimate source. His grace, His mercy, His understanding will always be there, even when times we don't deserve any of that. So there's one thing I tell my people that I supervise, and I'll tell anyone that talks to me when we get into a conversation. Sometimes we think if we're done wrong or if somebody says something, we have to strike back. Or sometimes, especially in my profession, if someone does something that can cause a fine, an arrest, or whatever the case may be, the South Carolina State Law books has two important keywords in that book. It has may and must. If you do something and the law says you must, then of course you got to follow the rules and do it because you can put yourself in jeopardy. If the statute reads may, just because you can lock somebody up, just because you can issue a citation, just because you can do whatever the law says, if it says may in that verbiage, you don't have to always do it. You don't have to always do it. Same thing in the Bible. God gives us must and mays. We must always follow the must that God gives us. But God gives us free will, and sometimes He gives us a little wiggle room on certain things. And just because you can do something, which most time that's not spiritual, is something negative or something that is revengeful, then we love to do it. Oh, he talked bad about me. Yeah, I'm gonna talk bad about him. He went to the sheriff on me. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go to the sheriff on him. Oh, he went to the pastor on me. Well, I'm gonna do this. Oh, he didn't vote for me for this, and I didn't get this. Then we hold grudges. Grudges lead to anger. Anger leads to trying to be vengeful and take matters into our own hand. But it goes back to what I said earlier: handling what you have. God gives you blessings. He gives you trials. He gives you tribulations. It's how you handle it that's going to decide whether or not God gives you even more stuff to handle, even more blessings. A lot of times we miss out on our own blessings because we can't handle what we have. Make sure you ask for God to handle your words, your thoughts, and your actions. I pray for that every day. Lord, please guide my words, my thoughts, my actions. Lord, please increase my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I want to be a better man. I want to be the best version of Danny. I encourage you to say that same prayer or something along those lines. Last thing I want to say is a quote that I saw. It says, "Have faith that God won't send you anything you're incapable of handling. You can decide that the word fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real." You say it one more time. Have faith that God won't send you anything you're incapable of handling. You can decide that that word fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. A lot of times we see things that we think is real. This AI is a very dangerous thing. My sheriff told me they went to a recent sheriff conference and Morgan Freeman was on the screen. And by the time at the end of the screen and stuff, it was someone who was able to change his features, the voice patterns sound just like Morgan Freeman, and said, "I'm not Morgan Freeman. This is who I am." This AI is a dangerous thing. I don't know what it's going to lead to, but it's very scary and very dangerous. And that goes back to handling what you have. We're going to try, I think this is my opinion, try to outsmart ourselves. And I don't know whether it's going to lead to something good or something bad. Just keep your eyes open. In the words of Childish Gambino, stay woke. Stay woke when it comes to this stuff. But that's just my 2 cents on this particular topic. And I'm challenging you, handle what you have. It's not what you have, it's how you handle what you have and what God has allowed you to have. This is my channel, The Road to Wisdom. I'm your host, Danny Graham. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. This year, I'm trying to get 2,000 subscribers. And right now, I'm at about 1,604. I can only do that with your help. So anybody you think they may benefit from this or may like this or may want to be introduced to God, this is a good place to start. So please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I don't want you to miss any material that I upload in the future. Also, hit that thumbs up. That's a like. That also helps me out the YouTube algorithm, and watch my video from the start to finish. And last but not least, please leave a comment. Any comment that you leave is constructive criticism, is encouragement, however you want to put on there. I will definitely read it and I will respond back to you. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Be safe out there. Yesterday was the first day of spring. Hallelujah. Hope it stays warmer and continues to stay warm. So until next time, you have a good day. And as always, God bless you.
Danny Graham, he speaks so clear. Love thy neighbor, hold them dear. Bible wisdom every day. God's own path, the only way. On the road to wisdom bright. Follow God through darkest night. Bible's words are guiding light. Marching forward with his might. Hear the stories from above. Jesus' power, pure is love. Trust in him no matter fall. Grace is here for one and all. Oh, in his might. Oh. On the road to wisdom bright. Follow God through darkest night. Bible's words are guiding light, marching forward with his might.